have you seen any of the recordings?
No, I haven't.
Fiona? Okay. All right. Okay.
I
So
saw that you had one here in New Zealand. It was like, I think 10 o'clock at night or 10:30, and I'm like, yeah,
yeah, that's not going to
not
work.
gonna make
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we rotate through in sort of Sydney time, 8:30 one week AM, and then midday the next week, and then 8:30 PM the week after. And so then it just rotates between those three times. And the concept of that is that we can pick up Europe and the US as well as kind of
Yeah, great idea.
Australasia. And so that's the idea there. And then some people are like, oh, I'm not sure about the recording. And so we tend to just start before we go recording. We can chat for a little bit and whatever. But generally the concepts are that we're talking about Events Air is kind of that's the honeypot. That's what has brought us here. But of course we're all working in events, and so when we start talking about tech or how much I hate hybrid events or whatever it is, there's often, or venues, it's like, have you seen this venue, whatever it is. And so that's generally the idea. It's really just Events there is what brings us together, and already it's been super helpful. I know for me, it's been super helpful for little tips here and there, or we're wrestling with something. It's the idea of doing it every week as well. It's like, I can wait until AirHeads and I can just ask someone, and they'll probably have an answer. So
Cool.
that's the
Since I'm the
concept.
first timer, I'm hoping you don't mind being on blank screen, and I'll probably might mute myself somewhat. Okay.
You don't have to.
Totally fine.
I'm actually looking forward to it because I missed last week your wrap up of airtime. Yeah.
So Dior, I wasn't on last week, and Dior did it with there's a few from Europe. There was a couple from Europe, and Kelly was on as well. And so there was some some comments about airtime.
I thought it was a step up from last year.
Me too. Yep, me too. I think I thought that some of the sessions, I thought that Medi's session was awesome, particularly his the morning one that he did. I thought was next level, and I said that to him. I was like, I feel like you, in the first session that he did on day one, that just felt like a somewhat normal presentation. It was fine. But I felt like his next one was like a keynote, sort of like almost like an extended TED talk, which I mean, obviously he was geeking out a bit, which I really enjoyed. But I like that he was sort of explaining AI, or large language models specifically, and then it sort of gave that as context, as then like, so this is the types of things that we could do and how we could use it in Events Air. And so I really like that. I spent 2 hours talking to him on the first night, like the whatever that was called, cocktails or whatever. And so it was super interesting.
Yeah. So although I do always like Warren's talk, so he was missed this year.
Yeah.
Warren usually does like a UX kind of thing, and I always get some really good tips. I think I've really, I think sometimes that's like definitely our registration form. We try and look at it from a delegate's point of view, like and I must admit that because we only opened early bird on Monday, and I love the incomplete registrations.
Oh yeah, you are liking that?
Yeah, I really like it. Apart from, I wish I'd seen Renee's presentation. I think on the Friday before, I think it was, we had another event that I was testing it with, and I didn't realize that you had to put the filter, because I was trying to send a merge doc to them to remind them to go register. Okay. But you've got it because they're not actually sitting as a contact. So you have to, when you do your merge doc up, like if you want to remind them to register, you've got to do the filter of incomplete registrations, or else I was like, why is the email not showing up? Yeah, so now that I've got that sorted, yeah, it's good. It's a good little thing to just remind people, I guess, because we always have experiences where people are like, oh, I haven't got my confirmation like 2 days before the event, and you're like, we don't have a registration for you. And that was before we could capture that information. And they're like, oh, I'm sure I did. And yeah, so I think it's hopefully going to stop a few of those that think they've registered but actually haven't.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that they add that to the abstract submission portal as well, right? Because if you haven't submitted it, you can go through the whole submission process and not submit, and then you don't have any access to it. You don't know it. It's the same thing. You get people contacting you and saying, "Oh yeah, I submitted an abstract."
Oh, we do that through. I've got a report. It's called Abstract Contact is created, but no abstract submitted.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So that's like the
cool.
data validation. So it basically is any contacts with no presentations that have filled in the marketing tag abstract portal account created.
Mm-hmm.
So we've set that report up because they've gone in a bit like this, I guess, incomplete. They've gone in and done their contact, but then they haven't actually added a presentation. Yeah. So I've been doing that for a little while. Yeah. So we will go through it to them. And usually it's quite good because you can impersonate them and
see. Yeah.
See, and you can say, oh, you do actually have some drafts that you haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been
that's interesting. Yeah. Because some people do just kick the tires and they haven't filled out anything, but they created the contact. We had it as a years ago when we first had a custom API. We could see all of the submission before it was submitted, which meant that we could see that it was incomplete and see all the fields that had been filled out. And so immediately we knew, oh, there's 10 people that have it in draft status, and it has a whole bunch of data in it, and so we could follow them up, which was awesome. But then that's gone, and we asked, oh, we used to be able to do this, and it was like, oh no, that's a privacy issue. But I'm kind of like, now we're sort of in the same way that you just explained. It still can be a privacy issue, and now maybe it is the data approval is really the key on that.
In the in the abstract contact form, we have the data, and even with the incomplete registration, we're making sure that they've agreed to that before it goes in. Yeah, but actually it reminded me because I haven't actually checked what abstracts haven't finished, and I've got one. Oh, she's even uploaded her photo.
Oh, there you go. Just not submitted. So Sarah's session was particularly good, thinking about her workaround for essentially the incomplete registration was to have them create the contact straight up. That's the first thing and the only thing that you do, and then they get an email to continue, sort of that the full registration process. It was very clever. It's a clever way of doing it.
Oh, I think that was for abstracts, wasn't it?
Yeah, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, I said registration. I meant abstract, which that's a clever way of doing it, is in ensuring that you have all their contact details first, and then get them to sign in to complete. That's a nice way of doing it.
Which I think is sort of what you have to do through the portal, isn't it? They have to kind of set up their contact. I know that's how we have it set up, that they have to set up a profile before they can then submit.
That's the same for us.
Yeah, same here.
She did something different
She does do something different. Yeah, I've
'Cause
I've
she-
actually tested it and looked at her thing, and it's like her and Kelly both, like the amount of themes in that makes my head hurt. But they've done some great workarounds. It looks really cool.
yeah, and it's worth watching her session and just going through it slowly. The thing I think is different is that creating that contact and then getting a link means that you can't actually continue unless your email is correct and you've
Yeah, that's
you've
true.
been able to
Yeah.
log in. I do like that.
Can I ask with you guys? So I
Yeah.
tried implementing Sarah's method, and we use the abstract portal for our awards.
Okay.
But the roadblock I ran into, mainly with the internal team, because I showed it to them and then they had questions, was how do you guys think I get around? Because you know how Eventide doesn't always send emails immediately? Like sometimes it can take a while. They were
Yeah.
like, if someone's ready to submit, they're not going to want to wait around for an email to get into the portal. So do you guys kind of have any workarounds around that?
I've done similar where we've redone the abstract portal for our awards. Ours is a little bit different in that people have to be nominated by someone first. So then once they're nominated, I usually then send to the nominee access to the portal to finish their submission. So I guess I don't know how yours kind of works. So I guess that's it's quite manual for us though to have to do that. But yeah, I mean, I think the send grid's quite good. I've been using that a lot more because I've realized that how many incomplete incomplete emails that we have that aren't going through. I don't know whether that's blocking them from going through automatically or.
I mean, email delivery is a whole topic in itself, isn't it? But it would be an interesting question to ask Sarah as to whether they have seen a problem with delayed email. I feel like, particularly with SendGrid set up properly, that that it's more the exception that they're delayed than the rule. But Junie, have you found that? Have you found that it has been pretty slow?
When I'm testing stuff, it depends on the day. Usually it's pretty much within the minute or so. Other times it could be like up to 10 minutes. Yeah, I think it really depends on the day.
Yeah, and people have already moved on to other tasks. If it takes 10 minutes to get an email, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what Sarah says with so many abstracts coming through and that being the process. But yeah, I have found it is worth logging into SendGrid and playing around. One of the things that people don't often realize is that you can set up the bounce back email address. So in SendGrid, you can set up where the bounce back will go, so that when you're sending through SendGrid, obviously all of the emails are going through that. It's not going to send a bounce back to the reply to email. It's going to send it from the from address, which is essentially a SendGrid. It's going to go back to SendGrid, and then you can say, I want it to go to this address. And so then when you set up that address, the nice thing is now you get bounces, which means now you get user doesn't exist, or or any other errors that they can get with an email. But specifically, like this email doesn't exist, essentially, which means it's often it's a typo. It's particularly helpful to capture your typos when you're first sending emails out, that knowing that those people are never going to get those. And if you haven't really set that up, it's my understanding that you won't see those unless you're logging into SendGrid, and then you can see them there as well, right? Like you can see the bounces. Have you played with that, Lisa?
No, I'm just trying to log in now and do that now. Yeah. I mean, I guess for me, I'm doing at the moment, every week we do a duplicate finder because we find that our members love to pay us twice for registrations. And so I'm doing a duplicate incomplete
Seems like a good problem to
registration.
have,
Well, I don't know.
except
Yeah.
they come asking for their
They
money back.
notice.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
at the moment, I'm just doing it once a week because we're only just started our campaign. So I'm doing duplicate, incomplete, and a send grid just once a week. I'm going in, but I think it would be good to have that email so it sends it to you to say this is one's bounce back. Yeah.
Yeah, and we we have it set up in our we use a ticket system for a support email, which is really handy. Particularly, I mean, I was going to say for a team I mean, really a team of more than one. When I think support ticket systems are great because anyone can respond, and you're tracking it as rather than just another email inbox. And I know some teams will manage a shared mailbox or something, and that's how they do it. But a ticket system works really well. It's one of those things. If it works big, it works small. And so you have a large support team. You can manage support tickets as emails. Anyway, the point is that I have it go to that address, and so then they pop up all in our support system where we can see each one of the bounces that happens.
So where are you setting that up? Sorry, Grant. In the
Yeah, I'm just trying to log in now too, and I'll show you.
Yeah, because it's two-factor authentication, so it's only me in our team that can log in to actually look at send grid. So it'd be great, like what you're saying, if the bounce
Right.
went to our central email that other people could also look at.
Yep.
Would be awesome.
Yep. I'll find it here. In the meantime, what other thoughts from airtime? Ginny, where are you at? And did you go to airtime?
I'm based in Sydney, and yes, I was at airtime.
Nice. Any observations?
It was my first one, so I'm
Okay.
like, for me, it was just great in terms of like networking and also finding out, like, especially like the roadmap for next year.
Yeah.
Just seeing like what upgrades they're making, because the ones they've made so far for us have like improved a few things. So yeah, kind of looking forward to seeing what else comes out.
Totally agree. Yeah, and
it feels less wait time. Like it seems like the road, like it's all happening soon, you know.
yeah. Yeah, I think there was some extra energy. And in general, I actually felt like there was less BS than last year. Right. It just felt like this is the stuff we're working on. You know, here is what you're gonna see, more so than tell us what you'd like to see. And we'll think about it. So mail settings,
Yeah.
mail settings, forward bounce messages, and then you can specify an email address.
Doing it now. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I got really excited about the concierge in the app. Yeah, but then I've got to ask the question if it's going to be available only in the modern, because I can't use the modern for our big event because I have to have the coloured coded agenda. But mind you, if the concierge is going to be in, then I might not need to have the colour. They can just search.
Why is that? I don't understand why the color is not in the modern. What is?
And it's weird because it's got a tick box like color. Sorry, what is it? Bring your agenda colors through. It's there. The tick box is there.
Right.
But it doesn't come through. It's just white. I think, and I think everyone said, oh, you can do your themes as a color, but it's not a solid block. and we also use that theme color for something different, for different levels that presentations are pitched. Yeah, I mean, and it's great. Like when we've only had 2 concurrent sessions, I've used the modern app and I love it, but it sort of like feels like going backwards for our biggest event when we're using the app the most, that I have to go back to just using the normal one.
Yeah, I would put money on the fact that it will only be in modern.
Yeah.
And so then more it's about getting that, like, what are the things that are holding you back from using modern? Is that they're the things that we want to push harder on. And I think that large concurrent session events, it's the stuff that I think about is how do you best show that on a app, like on a phone screen? How do you best show exactly what is on, even right now or at any time, particularly when there's 10 concurrent sessions or 20 concurrent sessions? How do you see that clearly, and what is actually the best experience for that? Because I'm not sure.
Yeah, and look, I think with the concierge, if like what they demoed, like that, you can then, what the color is, you can then search for that, and then can put it into my agenda. That sounded really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, I think that demo was super cool, and there was elements of it. Well, I could kind of pick some of it because there was the screenshots of how it was using. For example, Figma is a online platform for designing sites and design in general, but it has some very cool features which we actually saw in that demo, and that is demoing the user experience and being able to click through things, and so that you're showing the exact user experience. And so some of what we saw looked like a live demo, but was actually just kind of almost like a slideshow, an interactive slideshow, clicking something and then this pops up, you click this, and then this next thing shows results, which was super cool. And then there was some other parts of it which were actual live, kind of working elements. And so, yeah, it was really fascinating talking to Mehdi about the speed of development, and for such a large platform, and with so many users and across all these different countries and whatever, it's not like they can just have AI do a bunch of building for it and then just roll it out. Like, it actually, there has to be quite an extensive process of testing and making sure everything is actually right before that can roll out. And so maybe that's one advantage with me messing around with Eva, is that I don't have to worry about that as much. Let's try this.
But I think it's kind of good that they are consulting with a lot of people of what you would use it for, because I think like there's some things that we like I don't mind building a registration form. Like, that's something very particular that I kind of feel like I want to do, but something like what you've shown us with Eva, and that, like, just being able to go and change the agenda colors, or do that
repetitive
bulk set
tasks.
Repetitive tasks. But some things I will want to probably do myself still.
Yep. I totally agree. I think there's things that are that any of the delegates or speakers or whatever, that you want to really curate that experience for them. It's a really thoughtful process. Yep.
Yeah. I know that they're definitely, I know a few people are anti it, but for me, I think they're looking at it being able to do be like a blind judge for abstracts. And I think if you can set it up with the right rubrics, I think it would be a game changer, because I think that sometimes, academics can, be a little bit biased and maybe have, whereas obviously AI doesn't. And, you know, I don't want it to do predominantly just the judging, but as a third judge to have an unbiased opinion, I think it would be really cool.
That is cool. Yeah.
Which I'm not sure
Yeah.
if they're still working on that, but I think that was one of the things Medi had mentioned they were looking at doing.
Yeah. I think that's brilliant. It's a brilliant use case because particularly for larger events too. It's just like if you're looking for a way to sift through, sort through, and filter and whatever, what a great way that it's actually going through and giving you real data.
And it would also be able to, because I know that you know, we ask the question when someone's submitting, like, have you presented this at a scientific conference before? Because we want it all to be fresh and new. And if they lie and say, no, I haven't, and obviously we've found in situations, yes, they have, you know, obviously AI would obviously hopefully be able to check the net for if they had. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. And auto reply and say, due to your lying in your submission process, you have been denied. No,
because I think I'm not sure how Tuni goes with her awards, but you know, it's quite a laborious thing judging, I think, awards, and the bias can be there probably more than if you're doing an abstract or whatever. And we find it hard to find enough judges to have time to do those awards process, but that would be fantastic to be able to use AI to help with that.
I mean, I think it'd be really cool, but then I'm wondering, because we know people use AI in their submissions, like our members have openly told us that. Wondering how it would judge that.
Yeah, we definitely we do a we award 6 rural and remote. People can apply to, basically they get funded to come to the conference, and they just have to do, like, answer a few questions and then write a bit of a submission of why. And there was one and it was so cool and whatever, and then I went, this is a bit too cool, so I put it into AI and said, did you write this? Oh yes, thank you for reading. It was like, oh damn it, now I feel like, yeah, I don't know what the etiquette is there. Do we need to go back to people and say, look, you need to clean this up, this is too much? Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like the universities, that, isn't it? How they do, yeah.
It's just that it touches every industry now. I'm already seeing universities that are allowing the use of AI, you know, for certain things, and you know, but I think that some of our submission processes will benefit from us reducing the size of text that can go in, because it's so easy to take a few thoughts and have AI expand that to 2 pages of content. I think what is trickier is to have it be really succinct and to be accurate to what you want it to say. And we're having less time now and stuff, and so submission processes that can actually be more punchier and more succinct, I think, is going to be really helpful. But I don't know, it's a strange new world, text-based stuff. But I'm glad that Airtime spent, you know, a significant amount of time talking about it and where it can help us, helping attendees like we're talking about with Concierge. And then similar type of idea with Eva being able to do some, you know, tasks for you, and in the creation processes. I like that too. But everyone has, and that's what we find. That's what we found at Airtime. Everyone has different ways of going about their event planning, and so it's keeping it all very broad, I think, is the key. But yes, I did enjoy it. The networking aspects and, you know, kind of rubbing shoulders again, you know, some of the stuff that we talked about before is that I don't know that you can have too much time to have interaction. The trick of all of that is sort of somewhat facilitated. And when we did those the question sessions, I don't know what that was called, but where we're going to different tables and comparing notes on things, I think that was cool. And inevitably, it sort of the discussions went in all different directions.
Yeah, and I think I probably enjoyed it previous years because it was smaller groups. So I think we end up on a table of quite a big group, and so it was hard, I guess, to get the same. But look, they're always some of my favorite sessions. Definitely hearing what other people are doing.
Yeah, it makes me think about like those sorts of breakout sessions, breakout rooms, actually works brilliantly online, right? Like it's a really that's one of the key differences of doing an event online is the ability to break people into groups instantly, very quickly, and to be able to do that multiple times, and so it makes me think about an airtime type experience online. So I'd love to have that. If you think about the potential of how many people that had come to airtime across the different variations of airtime that they had across the world, if you could get 500, 1,000 people or whatever that would come to an online version, doing breakout sessions would be really awesome, and the types of people that you would interact with. It's not instead of, right? Like it's not instead of inputs. Yeah. Like, and it's not as hard to organize either, right? Just you can do it in 6 months, in the halfway between the next airtime or something. Would be amazing to do something online like that.
Yeah, and I think I've taken on, Grant, a bit leading on from that, what you've talked about like, do you have to, presenting all the content and then doing the Q&A. Like, we run student fundamentals, and so that's me on a Saturday, and most of the time I'm running pre-records, and then we do the Q&A section. And it's like, I've looked at next year and I think there's going to be a clash, and there's one that I can't do, and I'm like, well, hang on, maybe we, like what you said, load all the presentations up. They all get a week to watch it, and then we just do a live Q&A, which then is going to save me so much time, because I'll just have to do like an hour or something of Q&A instead of like a 6 hour where I have to be there all day. So I think I'm definitely going to try testing that for next year.
I'll be super interested how you go with that. It is a challenge, and some of the feedback or some of the pushback is like, well, what if people don't watch it, right? Or people won't watch it, or like they need a time slot allocated, to actually watch it. And I think there is something about that, but that then says something about the expectations that we have on the people. It also is like the content itself. It's like, if you make pretty ordinary content and you're making it on demand, the chances are they're switching off, because it's ordinary. But at least they can, 2 times it or something, right? They can speed through it. But
yeah, and I guess it gives them, like, 'cause a lot of our events we run, it's after hours. So I feel for people who are already busy enough,
right.
And then they're having to dedicate extra time. Whereas, maybe they could just watch, all right, tonight I'm just going to watch an hour of one, and then I'm going to watch, instead of having to take a whole day out. Yeah, I really am hoping I get the team on board to do it.
Yeah. And I think that the question time, when you feel like there's no limitation on questions as well, like question time, that can be really fascinating and really engaging, as people are able to ask more questions and dive into things a little bit deeper. And because that's all you need to do, because you've already watched the content.
Yeah, I think I've got to just work out how to do it on air, because I don't know, like, if it's all pre-record, can people still load questions if it's not a live event?
Yeah, we've done. how did we do that? We did do it where we set the sessions the day before, or I guess if they are watching it there, that they actually watch them. So if it's 2 weeks before, the event actually spans 2 weeks, and the on-demand sessions are already all there. Q&A is enabled, and we were able to have questions asked, and the session time, I think, wasn't finished. I guess that's the key, is that the session doesn't end or doesn't auto end, and so you can always go back to it.
Okay.
And it's available then to watch and to add questions.
Yeah, because I think that would be, I want people to be like watching it whenever they do and go, you know what, I'm going to put in my question now. And then everyone
100%.
else can see the question, so that then when we do, like, I'm guessing a week, maybe I might do it post, we do the live Q&A, we'll already have so many of the questions come in. Yeah.
Yep. How does CPD work for that? As it stands now, CPD is that they show up, or is it that they have to be there for a certain amount of it? Or
yeah, look, we're probably not the right association to ask about CPD. Ours this is a bit, it's definitely looking at yeah, we have done it.
I saw you once. Sure.
Yeah. Look, I think the way it's probably going to go is that people are going to have to start what is it, where they have to do like a test afterwards or something to prove
Right.
that, or do a self-reflection or something. At the moment, it's pretty much you register, you get your points. Yeah,
I think there's value in you need to ask a question, like the idea that you could go through a whole session and not have any questions. I think it is questionable.
yeah.
And so being able to just, you have to ask a question, and
and look, for some
you
of
can
it,
able to track that.
it's good. It's just like for the fundamental level, I actually allow them to ask questions anonymously, because I think sometimes if it's like their tutor that's doing the presentation, they're like, oh, I don't want to seem dumb or whatever. So we allow them to do anonymous questions, but that's just for students.
Great.
But I think for the others, it's good to get their name. And I think that might be a way we can track it. That's easy. I can export a report of who asked a question. Anyway, stay tuned. It won't be until April, but I'm already thinking about that's what I'm going to do.
We had an event
Saturdays
earlier
back
in the year where they had to scan into each session.
Mm-hmm.
And that worked really well for the purposes that they needed it.
In person.
Yeah, we found that they couldn't, we'd assumed that the QR code would stay live the entire time. So we had them on the doors as they were going in, as well as up on the screen. But what we've learned since is that it's only relevant while that session is in time. So if your program's running slightly over, then, and they're scanning as they leave, then that's no longer working for them.
Doesn't work.
But it's pretty nice and simple.
Yeah, I do know of another association that, they scan. That's how you get your CPD points. You've got to scan into every single sessions, which I think I'm actually going to try for one of our smaller events next year, because I think that might be the way our profession is going to go with the CPD points. So I think maybe testing that scanning on some of our smaller sessions might actually be worthwhile, to show them that, like, you can't just register and then go to the markets for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I something that we played with or started, and that is like, it's a lift to scan people in, and we actually had staff that were scanning people in as they came particularly into the workshops for a large workshop day. And the thing that we were watching is the data that we're getting about the difference between the what's the word called, how many spots you have, what's the inventory, for a function. So you've got that number. You've then got the registration number, or how many people have bought it, which might be the same where it's maxed out. And then you've got the number of how many people are scanned in. And the advantage of that, of course, is you can do last minute sales for people that, so there's no people that haven't shown up. You've now got a couple of spaces and someone's standing at the registration desk wanting to join that workshop, and now they can, because we can essentially have that live data, or we can guess that there's not, another 10 people that are about to walk in late. We can kind of like an airline, we can oversell the seats, which I think is really good for the event, particularly when you have really popular functions that sell out really early, and then you've got a bunch of people who would love to be able to go and didn't realize that there's 5 extra seats in that room that could have been sold. And so that's another advantage of sign-in, is that now you've got that data to see how many people are in that session at the time. So and you can teach people too that if they're not in the room 5 minutes before the session starts, you may lose your seat.
Yeah, we've done it where we run a certain amount of, and it was a nightmare to try and set up an event there to do it, but they used to be able to include it in their registration, because our workshops are so popular. They could pick 5 that they wanted, that they would be guaranteed they had. It was a nightmare to set up.
Wow.
And to audit, and then electives. We found that on site, ones would be sold out and people wouldn't turn up. And we just went, let's just scrap this. This is not working. The delegates aren't liking it.
Right.
So then we just moved to Sunday being masterclasses, which were smaller, intimate, and they could just select one that they wanted to do.
Gotcha.
And it's only, we've been doing that now for 2 years, and it's taking a bit of knowledge for people, but then we've increased the capacity of the other workshops so that less people are missing out. It's been tedious to try and inform them the change, but it's working so much better. And for us on the ground, it's so much easier just to have Sunday, where that's the only ones that we need to really look at.
That's a good way of doing it. I think that there are, along with my soapbox of what can be time shifted, I think lots of workshops can actually work even better online than they do in person. Some are absolutely hands-on workshops, no question, right? And there's lots of those, and of course it's super important. But there are some that could totally be online and would work really, really well, and they're not limited by people, and you don't have to be in that place. And so then that actually relieves the program a little bit as well, because you can say, actually, these 10 workshops will work perfectly fine online, and they'll be a month earlier. And they can still have a little meetup session, on site that's connected to that. But
anyway, ours are very hands-on, and they aren't included to our virtual audience. It's an in-person
because
advantage.
of that.
So I think that's why we've been able to maintain strong numbers on the ground, because if you don't come in person, unfortunately, you don't get those workshops.
That's good. I love that, and it should be that way, in the sense that it's then exclusive, and it makes for a better in-person event, and it's maximizing on the fact that you're in person.
Yeah, and look, we get still feedback of, and sometimes it's from delegates on the ground who, and I understand they can't come every year, and they're like, oh, why can't you live stream or these workshops? I said, okay, so you're sitting in the audience now. I'm going to need a camera right where you're sitting, pretty much. And then I'm going to need another one there. And it's not about the expense. I'm like, it means then for you as an in-person, I'm blocking your view and you're not going to get the same experience. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, we get it. I'm like, yeah, all right. But every year, the same question.
So we do a hands-on workshop every year, virtual. and that we send a 3D model out to everyone, and then we teach them the angles that we want. So we need to be able to see an over the shoulder view, and it does work really well. It does take takes a bit of extra planning and some sending things out and whatever. And so it's possible, and probably lots of people did that during COVID, but we have continued, and it continues to work really well. And so that particularly teaching the different camera angles, and then they can see a whole class, and then we do breakout rooms, and there's supervision of certain people, and they've got to do a certain task and whatever, and it all works okay. But
we do it. We did it for one event this year where we did record. It was quite a hands-on, and we're probably going to do 2 next year. But I think certain ones I don't want to do it. Yeah.
Yep. Totally agree. Yep. Very
good
cool.
Chat. I realise I've got to get ready for my next meeting.
Nice
to see some new people on here.
Yeah, a couple of
Sorry
couple
that
of new
we
faces.
always talk. I always talk too much.
Oh, well, no, it's good. Thank you for
All right.
coming. We've got
Until
one more
next
for the
week.
year. That's right.
All right.
One midday Sydney time next week,
All right.
and that'll be the last one.
I'm
Cool.